Hello, my name is Miss Ray, and I'm on a mission to help people believe in themselves. And part of that mission involves writing better essays. And so I decided to look up a sixth grade essay and see how we can improve this essay. So let's dive in.
So I found this persuasive essay online. I'm just going to make a note that it is persuasive. And in a persuasive essay, you are stating your opinion and you're trying to make a appeal, an emotional appeal to the reader to agree with you. You don't have to use research. In an argumentative essay, it is all facts and all logic, and here's my research to prove that this position. And persuasive, you don't have to do research, but it's always a good idea to add in some research. So I am excited to see like a statistic here. And this is sixth grade, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs. Okay, so your essay should start with a strong hook sentence. Now, this particular author has used a rhetorical question for their hook sentence. Who doesn't have a cell phone these days? The amazing thing about cell phones is that they are no longer just used for calling or texting. I actually am not loving this introduction. I like that they went for a rhetorical question. Strangely, in the US, rhetorical questions are often kind of the first version or one of the first versions that students are taught in order to start an essay. I think it's just because teachers want students to understand the usage of asking questions and the power of questions. However, in my experience, and this is just my experience reading student essays, I don't find that a rhetorical question is the easiest. And so for someone who is, if this was like fourth grade, I would be like, okay, great job, fourth grader. But for sixth grade, I would say, nah, you can do better. And so why am I not loving this? Well, actually, there's a lot of kids who don't have cell phones these days. So, and not just kids, there's adults too who don't have cell phones. So I don't love this. I would prefer to just see a statement. So I'm just gonna, can we rock what we have here? Sure, why not? But in my revision, I'm gonna say, try starting with a statement. And actually, I'll put that little note here for myself. Okay. They're no longer used for calling or texting. That's right. What's going on with this little box? They have become an indispensable multi-tool wonder. Well, that's fun. I like that. An indispensable multi-tool wonder. Today's cell phone is cutting-edge technology at your fingertips. So now I feel like we're kind of getting into hyperbole. Like, okay, you made your point. Like, get to the point. But it's still fun. It's still fun. With this in mind, students should be permitted to use cell phones in school. Oh, why is there a question mark? I think maybe that's a typo. With this in mind, with this in mind, should students be permitted to use cell phones in school? I believe they should not just be permitted to use cell phones, they should be required to use them. Cell phones don't just allow students to stay connected with family and friends, they're also an excellent learning resource, and they encourage the responsible use of technology. Oh goodness. Okay. So, you know what? I would probably start maybe with this. Today's cell phone is cutting edge technology at your fingertips. Let's see. They are no longer used just for calling or texting. You know what I would do to start this off is I would Sometimes as writers, we wind up with all these like beautiful things that we want to say and have trouble editing. So I would start with today's cell phone is cutting edge technology at your fingertips. Now, we don't want to use second person language, but we're just going to rock with this right now. Today's cell phone is cutting edge technology at your fingertips. They are no longer just used for calling or texting. They have become an indispensable multi-tool wonder. Today's cell phone. With this in mind, should students be permitted to use cell phones in school? Okay. All right, let's dive in. Okay, begin with, cell phones make it possible for students to stay in touch with friends and family. The student can call home and ask a family member to bring them a forgotten assignment or lunch money, or to come pick them up if they are sick. Okay, I have issues with this argument, but I am not supposed to be judging the argument, because if you're sick, schools have a nurse's office that the student is supposed to go to, and the person who is being paid to see whether or not students are healthy enough to stay in school or whether they should go home, that's their job. It's that adult's responsibility. It is not up to the student to decide if they are well enough to stay in school. So that right off the bat is not okay. And if they forgot an assignment, they have to learn how to deal with that. They can't just call home and be like, hey, I left my homework there, can you bring it? Like that's crazy doodle. Schools also tend to have an option for students if they forgot their lunch. So any hootie how, me not judging the argument itself, because this is what this person believes and they believe it rather passionately. Now, what is more important here is that we want to get rid of that second person language from the introductory paragraph. So I'm gonna go ahead and just mark that real quick. And I would probably say like at one's fingertips. Okay. And interesting that the autocorrect on my computer said, hey, maybe you could just be a little concise and just say, should students be permitted, instead of with this in mind. And I don't disagree with this idea of just make it short. However, this is a style choice. And so I believe in it. That's how that student wants to write. And I think it's a fun style choice. It's clear that they have a tendency to, I kind of want to say inflate things a little bit, or be very flowery in their language in terms of, indispensable multi-tool wonder. I mean, that's very grand, but that's also leads to authors making beautiful poetry and books that feel very grand. So I ain't changing it. Okay, now back to this paragraph here. To begin with, cell phones make it possible for students to stay in touch with family and friends. Okay, a student can call home and ask a family member to bring them a forgotten assignment or lunch money. Now, this is what I was looking at. Yeah, there's or lunch money, or to come pick them up if they're sick. Whoops, I was supposed to do that. I should have the comma here. You have a list. Don't use or twice. So we'll just do comma, gracious, assignment, lunch money, comma, or to come pick them up if they're sick. Also, cell phones allow parents to keep track of their children's whereabouts before, during, and after school. Now, interestingly enough, so this is why parents give their kids cell phones, so that they can keep track of their kids before school, after school. But parents know that during school, the kid's in school, right? So if you are a kid who's skipping classes, well, your parents going to see that if they are tracking your cell phone. So by allowing the use of cell phones, students will feel like they're being treated like responsible young adults. But not all students are responsible young adults, and they will appreciate that. Okay. If teachers are patient, understanding, consistent, students will surely become responsible users of technology. Okay. It's a persuasive essay. I have not been persuaded, but I like that this author is they are throwing out what they believe to be valid points. So that is the most important. Now we have in conclusion. In conclusion, y'all, is just like using and they live happily ever after at the end of a fairy tale. It's just overused. Use it in an argument, like a debate, a speech, not an argumentative essay, a speech, not in a persuasive essay. There's no need to. People who oppose the use of cell phones in school do it because of disruption and distractions cell phones can cause. Do not start a sentence with but and or. Don't do it. Not necessary. It's out of here. We must accept that we live in a world of technology and that cell phones are an important and useful part of the world. well, must we? Must I accept that? I don't know. I don't know that I want to be included. And so this is where that kind of, where I said before, like where it said your fingertips and don't include the reader. Don't include the reader. Don't include the reader. Because you as the author are saying that I as a reader must accept something. And my initial instinct is, nope, I don't have to accept your interpretation of that. Yeah, we do live in a world of technology and with cell phones, and cell phones are useful, but that doesn't necessarily mean that cell phones, the distraction caused by cell phones, is a problem that should be ignored. So don't include me. We miss out if we fail to take advantage of the educational power of cell phones. All in all, cell phones improve communication, provide learning resources, and encourage appropriate use of technology. Teachers and administrators must find ways to incorporate this excellent multi-tool in our schools. As you've learned, do not tell me what you think I've learned. No way. No way. So I'm going to highlight this. And this is the thing I see a lot, okay, in student essays, as they write, as I have shown you, as you have learned, as you should know, now you understand. Well, no, don't assume I've learned anything. Don't assume anything about your reader, even if you know who's reading your paper. Don't assume anything. As you've learned from this essay, it's really not that difficult. Oh, so now you're making me, the reader, feel like I am not smart because what is not that difficult? I don't even know what's not that difficult. The usage of cell phones? What are we talking about here? So I'm gonna, it is difficult. Incorporating cell phone use. Let's make the most of this high-tech world we live in. Okay, so overall, there's a lot of good stuff here, right? Overall, good essay. My biggest complaint would be second person language and weak usage of quotes. So I'm going to go ahead and make the necessary adjustments, and then we'll be able to see what this essay sounds like once it's gotten a little better essay magic. Okay, so we have a little better essay magic here. Cell phones in schools. Today's cell phone is cutting edge technology at one's fingertips. They are no longer just used for calling or texting. They have become an indispensable multi-tool wonder. With this in mind, should students be permitted to use cell phones in school? I believe they should not just be permitted to use cell phones. I believe they shouldn't not only. I believe they should not only be permitted to use cell phones, they should be required to use them. Cell phones don't just allow students to stay connected with family and friends, they are also an excellent learning resource and they encourage the responsible use of technology. To begin with, cell phones make it possible for students to stay in touch with family and friends. A student can call home and ask a family member to bring them forgotten assignment, lunch money, or to come pick them up if they're sick. Also, cell phones allow parents to keep track of their children's whereabouts before, during, and after school. In a recent study conducted by the University of, and this is where I made this up, Chow, 71% of parents whose children had cell phones felt safer about their child's whereabouts when they were away from them. Students can also connect with friends, but not just because it's a fun thing to do. Some teachers ask students to text or email their friends when they are absent to let them know what's going on in class and to inform them of any homework. Now, to be honest, this is just crazy long and I would break this up some more, but we've already done enough work on this essay, so let's keep it rolling. When used responsibly, a cell phone can be an excellent communication tool. Also, cell phones, especially smartphones, are a fabulous learning resource. Students can use tools such as the calculator, the map finder, and the calendar. Many kids use their cell phones in classes such as math and social studies to keep track of their homework. Some science teachers let students use their smartphones to do research when they are doing group work or working on a project. For example, when working on a project in social studies, a cell phone could be used to research information about resources that were traded in ancient Mesopotamia. So what I did there was I have removed all first-person language from this paragraph. Plus, there are lots of great learning websites, including essay writing websites, that they can use to supplement their learning in class. Cell phones are a quick and easy way to incorporate technology in the classroom. Finally, cell phones encourage the responsible use of technology. According to Bill Gates, founder of Microsoft, students can learn when and how to use their cell phones to enhance their learning. This technology giant not only understands the importance of cell phone usage among students, but advocates for its ability to enhance learning as well. So what I did here is I had to explain why we were using this quote because there wasn't an explanation. We just have this quote. So if you're going to quote something, you got to make sure we know why you used it. Through cell phone usage, students will become more independent in their work and more motivated to learn. Almost 100% of students surveyed by the University of Chow in 2022 said they like being allowed to make choices and they understand the consequences of their actions. So again, I made up this, but as you can see, I provided who did the study and when the study was done. If a student is texting instead of paying attention to the teacher could take the cell phone temporarily away. By allowing the use of cell phones, students will feel like they're being treated like responsible young adults, and they will appreciate that. If teachers are patient, understanding, and consistent, students will surely become responsible users of technology. People who oppose the use of cell phones in school do it because of the disruptions and distractions cell phones can cause. Educational institutions, so we had we before, and I wanted to not include the reader. So who needs to accept this? I'm going to say educational institutions. Educational institutions must accept that we live in a world of technology and cell phones are a very useful part of that world. By failing to take advantage of the educational power of the cell phone, students are missing out. All in all, cell phones improve communication, provide learning resources, and encourage appropriate use of technology. Teachers and administrators must find ways to incorporate this excellent multi-tool in schools. Let's make the most of the high-tech world we are living in. Cool. So we went ahead, we removed second person language. We added some necessary information to those studies and quotes, who, where it came from. And we added justification for using those things. And so I hope you found this helpful, and it was really fun to make this essay just a little bit better. Keep writing.